Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the world of AI. More specifically, some pretty interesting website traffic trends that were recently revealed in a similar web report. It's kind of like getting a sneak peek at which AI platforms are really grabbing everyone's attention and what that means for where this whole field is headed, you know? And get this, there's a new platform, DeepSeek, and it is absolutely blowing up in popularity.
It's really something, yeah. DeepSeek went from practically nobody knowing about it to being like the #2 spot globally for AI website traffic. And this all happened in just a few weeks. And the data from SimilarWeb, it covers like a solid 12 weeks, you know. So this isn't just some like random spike, it's a real trend.
Hey, but wait a second. That report said their traffic jumped over 17,000% in just 1 week.
That's insane.
That's insane. And at the same time, we're seeing traffic slow down for some of the big players like OpenAI, the people behind ChatGPT. So what's driving this huge interest in DeepSeek?
Well, there's been a ton of buzz about DeepSeek's R1 model. It's a new kind of AI model that's supposed to be super powerful, and it can handle way more tasks than the older models could. It's designed to be more adaptable and intuitive, which has really caught the eye of a lot of developers and researchers.
So DeepSeek's kind of shaking things up, and not everyone is thrilled about it, huh? The report mentioned that Microsoft's Copilot and Anthropic's Claude are actually seeing some negative growth.
Yeah, it definitely seems like DeepSeek coming onto the scene has kind of mixed things up in terms of like competition. But if we take a step back and look at the bigger picture, it's important to remember that overall interest in AI is still growing. Even with some platforms seeing a dip, AI website traffic is still consistently going up, like between 10 and 20%.
Yeah.
It's a big deal, especially when you consider that general web traffic has actually been going down. So it seems like AI is becoming more and more a part of how we work and how we live.
And speaking of work, the report talks about this crazy growth in the DevOps and code completion category, something like an 83% increase in traffic. It seems like AI tools for developers are becoming like absolutely essential.
Oh, totally. We're seeing platforms like Lovable, for example, kind of mirroring DeepSeek's crazy growth with increases of like 10,000 to 20,000%. And then you've got platforms like Cursor and Replit that are also seeing big jumps in traffic. These tools are totally changing the game for developers, helping them automate all those boring, repetitive tasks. And they can get intelligent code suggestions and even find bugs. It's like having a super-powered coding buddy.
So developers are definitely embracing AI, but what about education? The report shows a bit of a dip in traffic for AI platforms focused on education.
Yeah, that dip is probably because of school holidays.
Yeah.
But here's what's interesting. ChatGPT's traffic didn't have that same kind of holiday slump that it had last year. So it seems like ChatGPT has a way bigger user base now, which means it's becoming more integrated into different parts of our lives, including education. It looks like lots of students and teachers are using it all year round, even when school's out.
So even with that holiday dip, ChatGPT is still going strong. What about image, video, and music generation AI? There was all this talk about AI disrupting creative industries, but the report shows a decline in traffic there lately. And what's really interesting is that the traditional creative tools like Adobe and Canva, they're actually seeing growth.
Yeah, that is an interesting twist. At first, people were worried that AI would totally replace human creatives, but it looks like it's turning into more of a complementary tool. So instead of replacing artists and designers, it's giving them new ways to boost their creativity and get things done faster.
So basically, DeepSeek is making a big splash. Developer tools with AI are becoming must-haves, and AI is playing a more subtle role in creative fields. It's a lot to process. But what I'm really wondering is, what does all this mean for someone like me? You know, someone who's not a developer or a data scientist. How is this AI revolution going to change my life?
Well, that's the big question, isn't it? And the truth is, it's probably already affecting your life in ways you might not even realize. AI isn't some far-off thing anymore. It's all around us. Like, think about those personalized recommendations you get on, like, streaming services or when you're shopping online, or even how your phone predicts what word you're going to type next, or those spam filters that keep your inbox clean. That's all AI.
So it's already kind of working behind the scenes, but you're saying it's only going to get bigger, right?
Exactly. As AI keeps getting better, it's going to touch more and more parts of our lives. How we work, how we learn, how we interact with, like, everything around us, it's all going to be shaped by AI.
Okay, so I get it's a huge deal, but I gotta admit, it's also kind of scary. It's like this giant wave of technology is coming, and I'm not sure I'm ready for it.
I get that feeling. But instead of being scared, let's think of it as an opportunity. AI is a tool, a powerful one, and like any tool, it can be used for good or bad.
Mm.
The key is to be informed to understand what it can do and what it can't do.
So you're saying we need to become, like, AI literate. We need to understand the basics, how it works, what it can do, and what it could mean for us.
Exactly. AI literacy isn't some special skill anymore. It's becoming essential for everyone. It's about knowing how to navigate this new world, how to make smart decisions about how we interact with AI.
Mm.
And it's not just about the techie stuff. It's about understanding the ethical and social implications too.
Right, because if AI is going to be making decisions that affect our lives, we need to make sure those decisions line up with what we believe in. But let's get back to DeepSeek for a sec. This whole thing with their rapid rise and those data leaks is kind of wild. Do we know anything about the company behind it?
DeepSeek's a bit of a mystery, actually. They're pretty new, and they've been operating under the radar for a while. There's not much info out there about, like, who founded it, where their funding comes from, or even what their long-term goals are. And that kind of mystery has just made them even more intriguing. Everyone in the AI community is talking about them.
It's like the AI world has its own tech thriller going on. But speaking of mysteries, remember those data leaks we mentioned? There's been a lot of chatter online about whether those leaks actually helped DeepSeek get more popular. What do you think? Could bad press actually be good for business in this case?
It's definitely possible. In tech, sometimes any publicity is good publicity, especially if it gets people curious and talking. Those leaks, even if they weren't on purpose, might have given DeepSeek an edge, making their tech seem even more advanced and desirable.
So even a mistake could turn into a marketing win. It's crazy how unpredictable this whole thing can be. But let's shift gears a bit and go back to those developer tools with AI that are seeing such huge growth. What do you think is driving that demand? Is it just about making coding faster and easier?
It's partly about efficiency, yeah? These tools can do things like automate those repetitive tasks, suggest code snippets, and help developers catch mistakes more quickly. But it's also about doing things that we couldn't do before. AI is allowing developers to create more complex and sophisticated applications, things that would have been impossible just a few years ago.
So it's not just working faster, it's about working smarter and building things that are more innovative and have a bigger impact. That makes sense. But, for someone like me who's not a developer, all this talk about code and algorithms can feel kind of abstract. Can you give me a real-world example of how these AI-powered tools are changing things?
Sure. Let's imagine a company that's building a personalized learning app for students. In the past, building something like that would have taken a massive team of developers and tons of manual coding. But now, with AI tools, developers can create algorithms that actually adapt to each student's unique learning style, giving them customized lessons and feedback in real time. That kind of personalization would have been super difficult and time-consuming without AI.
Wow, that's a really powerful example. It really shows how AI is changing how we learn and interact with information. But with all this focus on the good stuff about AI, I think it's important to also talk about the potential downsides. What are some of the risks or challenges we need to be aware of as AI becomes more common in our lives?
You're right, that's crucial. AI has a lot of potential, but it's not a magic solution. There are real concerns about things like job displacement, algorithmic bias, data privacy, and even the possibility of it being misused by people with bad intentions. It's really important we approach AI development and how we use it with a thoughtful and ethical framework.
So it's not just about the technology itself, it's about how we use it and what safeguards we put in place to make sure it's used responsibly. That makes a lot of sense. But, with all this talk about AI changing the world, it's easy to feel like it's this unstoppable force that we have no control over. Do we really have a say in how AI develops, or are we just along for the ride?
That's a question a lot of people are asking, and it's an important one. The future of AI isn't set in stone. It's something we're all creating together. And the choices we make today, both individually and as a society, will have a big impact on how that future unfolds. We need to be active participants in this conversation, talking to policymakers, researchers, and developers to make sure AI is developed and used in a way that benefits everyone.
So it's not just about adapting to the changes that AI brings, it's about shaping those changes and making sure they align with what we value and what we want for the future. That's a powerful thought. But how do we do that? Where do we even start?
It starts with education and awareness. The more people understand about AI, what it can do, and what its limitations are, the better we'll be able to make informed decisions about its role in our lives. We also need to encourage critical thinking and ethical discussions around AI.
We've talked about a lot in this deep dive, from DeepSeek's sudden rise to the huge demand for those AI developer tools, and how the role of AI in creative fields is changing. It's been a wild ride through the world of AI. But I think what's really stuck with me is this idea that we're not just watching this AI revolution happen. We have a voice, and we have a responsibility to use it.
Absolutely. We all have a stake in the future of AI.
Yeah.
And the more informed and engaged we are, the better that future will be.
It really feels like we're at, like, a crossroads, like something big is about to happen. But instead of feeling overwhelmed, I actually feel pretty excited. It's like you said, this isn't something that's just happening to us. It's something we're all creating together.
Yeah, that's the attitude. And now's the time to be curious and proactive. Think about those traffic trends we talked about. They're not just numbers. They're showing us where things are headed. Those developer tools that are blowing up. That means there are opportunities for you to learn new skills, maybe even build something amazing yourself.
So instead of being scared of what we don't know, we should embrace it.
Exactly. This is a chance to learn new things, to explore new tech, and to imagine how we can use AI to solve problems and make things better.
I like that. Instead of worrying about AI taking over, we can focus on how we can work with AI to do some pretty incredible things. But I think it's easy to get lost in the big picture, What are some actual steps people can take to become more AI literate?
Well, first off, don't be afraid to try things out. There are tons of free AI tools and resources online. Play around with them, see what they can do. You might be surprised how easy they are to use.
That's a good point. It's like anything new, the best way to learn is by doing it.
Absolutely. And don't just focus on the technical stuff. Read articles, listen to podcasts, go to webinars. There's a ton of info out there about how AI affects us ethically, socially, and economically.
So become a well-rounded AI citizen, not just a tech person.
Right. And most importantly, talk to people about it. Talk to your friends, family, coworkers about AI. Share what you think, what worries you, what you're hoping for. The more we talk about it, the better we'll be able to handle the challenges and take advantage of the opportunities that come with it.
This whole conversation has really changed how I think about this. I started this deep dive feeling a bit uneasy about the future of AI, but now I'm feeling a lot more hopeful.
That's awesome to hear. Yeah. Remember, the future of AI isn't set in stone. It's a story we're all writing together, and it can have a good ending if we approach it with, some wisdom, courage, and a sense of responsibility.
Well said. So to everyone listening, I hope this deep dive has made you curious and maybe even inspired you to get more involved in shaping the future of AI. There's so much potential here, and we're all in this together. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.